right. All right. Welcome, everybody. We're here for Ticker Talk this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you are. So we've had a couple of really good days in the market, which has been kind of nice, something we all deserve and have been hoping for. So we'll take a look at what's been going on, and we'll take a look at what we think might be coming up. So let's just get right into this. We'll start with just blasting through a disclaimer, as we always do. Everything we do here is for educational purposes only. We are not investment advisors and do not provide investment advice. And all statements made here today are my own personal opinions and not to be considered advice to buy or sell any security. All trading and investment decisions are your own and done at your own risk. All right, we got that out of the way. So everybody knows who I am. I'm Kevin in the Discord, Kevin D in the Discord. You all know who I am. Hey, this is a good time if you're watching the recording to go smash that like button. Cool. All right, so we're going to take a look. We're going to start out today by taking a look at the major indices. We'll look at some of the other things we look at. We'll look at volatility and we'll look at yields and the dollar index. We'll look at some sectors and we'll see if there's any setups. So let's start digging right into that. Let me bring up this chart here. So we've got a chart of the SPY representing the S&P 500. You can see after we broke through and had one close below that June low, we immediately reversed on Monday. Remember on Friday, Friday was bearish. Sentiment was terrible. Everybody thought the world was coming to an end. And then the weekend goes by. October starts on Monday and we gap up big time and we go up. Nice big day yesterday, on Monday, really big day on yesterday. We gapped up, as you can see here, and we just went higher all day. This is a bad print on this candle. This wick that you see here isn't really there. Yesterday we opened and the open was basically the low of the day, and then we just went up all day long. Now today we gapped down a lot. You can see we almost gave back everything we gained yesterday just on the gap. And it was looking kind of bad. That was a big gap down, too big in my opinion. I did not like that one bit. And then we went a little lower. We came right into what had been this sort of minor support resistance and caught a bounce and went up and almost regained everything we lost. We did actually go green at one point today. Came into this resistance around the 21-day moving average and that 380 mark, which is a fairly important level. I pulled back a little bit. I'm okay with a little pullback there. Considering how ugly it had gotten earlier in the day, I'm quite happy about this price action. I actually want to go look intraday, and I think you'll get a better idea why I'm quite happy about that. So this is the big chart in the middle is a 5-minute chart of the S&P 500. You can see this dotted line up here is yesterday's closing level. So you can see how much we gapped down. And then when we opened, we chopped around a little bit and then went down. We got through this line down here. This brown dotted line is yesterday's low. So if you read the morning briefing, you know I talked about how important it was that we at the very least closed above yesterday's low. So when I saw us go below yesterday's low, I was not happy about that at all. It was not looking good, but then we started to get this price action in here. And when we put in this lower high right here and then broke out right here, then it's like, okay, good, game on. It was pretty obvious or fairly obvious right here when we broke that little area right there with this candle, and you can see the volume start to come in there. This is going to turn itself around. And had a little bit of a pullback and then just kept going the rest of the day. Now, when we started coming into the close, after a big move like this, coming into the close, you expect to see some selling, a little bit of profit taking there. So no big deal on that. And you can see we're clawing that back in the after hours, now moving up. So this is all looking good. This all bodes well for tomorrow. Sure looks to me like we're going to have another update tomorrow. And, no reason why we shouldn't. If we don't, then things probably get a little scary. If we gap down again tomorrow and go, if we start fooling around with that low or into this gap again here, then that's not going to be good. I really don't think that's what's going to happen, but we've got to be aware. This is a market where there's a lot of risk still. We are in a bear market, so we've got to look at both sides of the equation here, and have an idea or a plan for how we're going to react if the market reacts poorly, if it doesn't do what we expect it to do. But I'm expecting the market to go up. I think we close. It'd be really nice to see us close above the 21-day moving average in this resistance level and start attacking this. I think this should be a fairly easy move over the next few days into this more of a major support level in around 390. And maybe we take a couple of days to move up here, and then we consolidate on there for a day or two, and perhaps Monday or Tuesday of next week is when we break through that one and start attacking other levels up here. But it sure looks to me like it's going to be rally on, and we're going to continue to rally. So let's just take a quick look at the Qs. It's pretty much the same thing in the Qs and the IWM. You can see we had that gap up. We maybe haven't been quite as strong in the Qs. Not looking quite as strong, but I think we had a bit of a stronger close in the Qs today. IWM's got an interesting little chart pattern here. You can see this, what we call an island reversal. So we had a downtrend. We gapped down, okay, we put in a consolidation, and then we gapped up out of the consolidation. And you can see how it leaves sort of this area just sort of hanging off here in space all on its own, right? It's not connected to the other price action. That's an island reversal. It is a fairly well-known chart pattern, and it is bullish, although not super bullish. This is not one of the most reliable patterns, but, this is... still looking good for a move higher here. All right, let's take a look at the volatility index. So you can see this continues to come down. It seems to, it's still kind of hanging around that 30 level, but at least we've been closing below that 30 level now for a couple of days. So that's good to see. Obviously, you're going to need to see this come down even farther. It'd be nice to see this crack through what had been the former resistance here up and around the 28 level, and we've also got that trend line there. So we need to see this break down through here if this rally is going to continue. The 10-year yield, that has pulled back over the last week, but you can see that was up today. And this is part of the problem we had today is in the pre-market, the 10-year yield was up a lot, and the dollar was also up. So that's one of the reasons we gapped down so much this morning. So I would really like to see this roll over tomorrow. It did pull back later in the day a little bit. You can see here, just kind of seemed to sort of top out a little bit and pull back a little bit intraday. So that's good to see. So with any luck, this pulls back tomorrow, and that will help us help the equities rally. Let's take a look at the Rivian. We want to look at DXY. Okay, so this is the dollar index. And yeah, you can see here how we have been pulling back really nicely. I remember talking on the weekend about how, nice to see that we're breaking this accelerated uptrend. Now that that's broken, we can get rid of that. And now we're back into a more reasonable trend here, and we seem to have bounced off that trend line and had an update in the dollar index today. Do not want to see this moving up really quickly. In fact, I'd really like to see this roll over even more, come down maybe through this support level, down through the 50-day moving average, and maybe get to this uptrend line. But the market doesn't have to do what I want it to do. But we are going to see this come down more. If equities are going to rally, we've got to see this come down as well. And it'll also be good for global markets too if that comes down some more. All right, let's take a look at some of the commodities. We'll start with gold really quick. So gold has had this really nice move up for over a week now, but it seems to have found some resistance at that declining 50-day moving average. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes from here. But obviously, the move up in gold is interesting to see that happen at the same time we were having, a really strong move in equities. Silver, I had talked a fair bit about silver, how I thought that silver was going to make a move. I thought it was going to make a move out of this consolidation here, and it did make a move. It made a move to the downside. That quickly reversed. And then on, what was this, Friday? No, this was Monday right here. Big day. So, unless you're already in it, I mean, it would have been hard to catch any of this. It just moves so fast. So that was silver. Let's move on to copper. It's nice to see copper moving back up as well, although that's come into a cluster of resistance here. I know this chart looks a little bit messy, but I wanted to show this, the former uptrend because it seems to be acting as resistance now. We also have a downtrend channel going on, and you can see we've come up to the top of that. We've also got the 50-day moving average here. So if I were putting money on this, I'd be betting for this to roll over. But given the conditions of the market, I wouldn't be surprised to see copper break through all of this resistance and move up into this resistance level up here, where the 100-day moving average is. It's a bit of a contrarian view, considering all the technicals that say that it should fail here. Okay, so DBC, the overall commodities index. You can see this is like moving big gaps in here, moving right up, and it's also moved up into resistance. We've got that downtrend line, the 200-day moving average. It got through and closed above the 50-day moving average today. And actually, I think we do have, you know what? We did close above the 200-day moving average, just barely. Be really nice to see this to keep moving up tomorrow, and just obliterate this downtrend line. That would be nice to see. The DBA, the agricultural commodities, still inside this bear flag. And you can see we were talking about on the weekend, we were talking about how this should break down. We expect this to break down out of this bear flag. So jury's still out on that one. Let's take a look at crude oil. So crude bounced off the bottom of this downward channel that it's been in and bounced off quite strongly, and has now just barely moved above this this downtrend line. Remember, we also had, we had a downtrend line sort of on the inside of this one as well, and it broke through that the other day. So we're now, we stalled out right at the 50-day moving average, right at this resistance line, minor resistance line is right there as well. So I can see in the after hours now, crude oil is up a little bit. I'm still in a bunch of energy trades here. I'm glad I didn't bail out of all of them, because this is working really nicely, and I expect this will continue higher. Today there was OPEC news today, because OPEC had a meeting, and they have vowed to cut production, or their production quotas, by 2 million barrels a day. The 2 million barrel thing is a bit of a red herring, because apparently they were underproducing anyway by at least 1 million barrels. So in reality, we could see, starting in November, a 1 million barrel cut from existing levels, from levels we're at right now. So I think we should see oil continue to trend up, because that is quite a catalyst for that. Although it did run up into this meeting, right? Because they were advertising that they were going to be cutting. Natural gas has also seems to have potentially turned the corner here. This is still, this is a bear flag, except this is a downward sloping bear flag. And when we see that, we expect these bear flags to fail. There is a high failure rate when they slope down. You can see we're also finding some support of the 200-day moving average. So I would not be surprised if tomorrow we see this break out of this flag to the upside. So that was natural gas. We'll take a look at the XLE, the energy ETF. Big moves up, big gaps, beautiful moves in here. Probably has a little more in it, but we should be coming into some resistance in this zone here. And, you know, after a big move like this thing is allowed to take a rest. We don't mind if this takes breaks, consolidates up here. What we don't want to see is a big red turnover, right? Go up here, go sideways for a few days, and then go up some more. It would be just fine by me. The oil producers pretty much look the same. Big gap ups. We were concerned about this bear flag. We would have expected to see that break to the downside, but that broke very strongly to the upside here. Same deal here. We're going to be coming into some resistance very soon. So, you know, we're okay if it comes into there and starts moving sideways for a few days. Oil service is pretty much the same deal there. Strong moves up, coming into resistance. We've got that 200-day moving average directly overhead, but this had a very strong day today. It outperformed all of the other subsectors within energy. TAN, not sure what happened here today. It gapped down, you know, with the rest of the market. Okay, fine, no problem. It did not really recover like the rest of the market, though. You can see we've got a big red candle. We cut through this former trend line that we, you know, would have expected to act as support. And in some ways it did. I mean, we closed right on it, right? So it is nice that we had a bit of a reversal intraday. We'll look at that chart here. You can see, look at this move down in the morning, though. I mean, they were selling like crazy in here. It did have a nice turn and, you know, started moving back up. So I think that we could see some recovery in TAN or in the solar sector tomorrow. So First Solar, we've been waiting for this one to break out of this range, and it broke out yesterday, and then it reversed right back into it today. So that's not good. This is not what you want to see when you break out of a nice range like this. So this is probably going to have to set up, make another try at breaking out here. You know, I mean, it's possible that one of the reasons this breakout failed is because it kind of gapped up. It gapped up right to that breakout level, and then went a little higher, had a bit of a reversal yesterday. So, you know, that could be why this failed. You know, I'd like to say prefer to see these consolidate right under the breakout level and then go. So maybe that'll do that. Maybe that'll set up for us again. End phase. I think this end phase is, you know, I was looking for news on why is solar down like this, and I really couldn't find any good reason for it. And I think it was just maybe technical. Solar has been, you know, doing really well, and it shouldn't surprise us to see a little bit of rotation out of that and into other things when other parts of the market are actually doing really well now. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And in end phase in particular, it broke down, you know, below this important support level today. And I think that that's what caused this acceleration to the downside. And you can see, you know, once this broke through, sorry, what was that level again? Oh, so that level is, yeah, 272. Where is that? Way down here. Yeah, you can see that, you know, we had a big move down into that level, and it just kept right through it and kept on going. Nice little double bottom on this chart. I actually didn't notice this. I wasn't really watching this earlier. If I'd seen this double bottom, I probably would have bought this actually and day traded this the rest of the day. That's a nice little setup there. Both of these are. You know, this one here, you know, it's what we call, there's two tweezers bottoms here, kind of forming a tweezers bottom. Interesting little pattern there. Like I said, wish I'd seen that. Totally playable, these things. Sort of commit this to memory, where you get, you know, you get a big red bar down on big volume, and then you get an equally sized or even slightly bigger red bar up, both with the, you know, the same lows, with decent volume. You know, this is a very viable pattern, because you just buy the breakout of the previous red candle, put your stop below that red candle, Now you can see you might have got faked out of this the first time. Hopefully, as it started to roll over, maybe you would have pulled some off. But then it set up that exact same pattern again, and then the second time around, it worked much better. So yeah, I like these little tweezer patterns here when you have this sort of big capitulation type of move down. All right, what do we got next? We got discretionary. Let's go back to our daily chart on that. Yeah, so discretionary, not terribly strong over the last 2 days, not as strong as other parts of the market. Industrials, I think industrials were a little stronger than discretionaries. Yes, they were. Industrials stronger than consumer discretionary over the last few days, maybe finding some resistance in the 21-day moving average. Let's look at financials really quickly. Financials, nice big gap up, and nice little inside day today. Regained some of its losses from the gap down. So that's good to see. Schwab is one of the ones we've been watching here. Unless you were already in it from, playing off, bouncing off the 50-day moving average or something, it was tough to get in there on this big gap up. Technology. So the technology chart is finally starting to look better. We've had a little move up after, we've been in this steep downtrend now. Had a little move up. We've come through a couple of the levels so far, but we stalled out of the 21-day moving average today. But you can see that technology is one of the sectors that that finished. There was only 3 sectors that finished green today: energy, technology, and healthcare. And this is one of them. So that's good to see. We're not going to get out of this bear market until they start buying technology companies again. The communications sector, it did close down a little bit, but has been looking much healthier. We broke out the top side of this consolidation that's been going on, so that's nice to see. Let's look at a few of the stocks, a few of our tech stocks that we look at. Meta, still not pretty here. Weak, very weak compared to the move in technology, the communication sector and the market overall. So this has got to get up and go, but it seems like people are kind of ignoring Meta. Apple. So Apple has managed to reverse that steep downtrend. It had almost a week of really steep movement down. It's managed to reverse that, kind of hanging. Took a level back. Still got a bunch more levels it needs to take back. So if this rally is going to continue, we need to see they need to keep buying Apple here. Amazon. Amazon, we were looking at this bear flag, and it tried to break out of that to the upside. Failed a little bit today, and is trying to take that back again. So I think we don't need to worry so much about this bear flag anymore. Netflix continues to disappoint, but it still sets up, right? It seems like every time it tries to go, it fails, and then you get these big days. Like, today was it was down quite a bit earlier today. So this closed down 1.7%, but it was down. I think it was down as much as 4% earlier in the day. That's a fairly big move, but the setup is still here. It's still waiting for this thing to actually really break out for real and go close this gap. Google. So Google moving up off the lows. Important to see that. Microsoft also moving up off the lows, outperforming some of the others a little bit here. I'll probably draw that gap in before the weekend session, but here's a level that needs to start chipping away at some of these other levels here, and this next one to break through is pretty obvious here. All right, let's move on to Tesla. So not a great week for Tesla. They missed their production numbers, which were announced over the weekend, and that was the cause for this big gap down. And then yesterday, as they were trying to go back up, we find out that Elon says that he will close the deal with Twitter at the original terms. And so that caused some issues for Tesla yesterday, because now everybody thinks that he's going to have to sell more Tesla to pay for Twitter. And there's probably a lot of truth in that. I actually saw a story. Where did that go? I think Disguises guy posted this in, did he put it in the Tesla channel? No. Okay, well, I don't know where he posted that. Okay. Anyway, somewhere there was a story about one of the banks that that Elon was going to use to buy Twitter is backing away from this deal. So yeah, lots of drama still going on with the whole Twitter deal, and it is affecting Tesla without a doubt. All right, so let's take a look at semiconductors. They have turned nicely off the bottom. Had a nice look at this bullish engulfing candle here today. I like the look at that. So yeah, maybe we need to start looking at some of our semiconductor stocks again. I don't have anything prepared for that, but you know which stocks that we normally look at. So we'll probably be looking closer at these over the weekend. Healthcare, again, one of the three sectors that closed green today. Really strong move in here. Definitely looks like an outperformer. Biotech though was down on the day, but it is trying to retake that neckline off that head and shoulders. This is hands off for now until this resolves sort of one way or the other. REITs, all of the defensive sectors were down today, and that's totally fine. We don't, if we're going to be rallying, we don't want to see defensive sectors leading the way. And REITs were the weakest of them all. Staples were also down today, and underperforming the market as well on the move back up. So that's cool. And same with utilities. Utilities were down, and you can see, they bounced up nicely with the rest of the market, but we're quite weak today. And again, that's totally fine. These are defensive stocks. We don't need these to be leading the market. All right, that is everything for our look at the markets. So we're going to move on now to the actual ticker talk section of what we do. So if you guys are ready to go, you can either type those tickers into the chat. You're more than welcome to unmute. I see that Marvin is getting himself ready to go, so Marvin's going to be first on deck here, and he's going to tell us what he wants. And I think he might even have a chart to show us. I think we're going to share a screen or something maybe with Marvin. And so why don't you take it away, Marvin?
Let's see. Am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely do that. I actually was able to buy shares. So
oh, sweet.
So it's good. Just to kind of and I'll kind of talk as terms of to everybody in terms of I was talking about shares. So excuse the chart mess if you're gonna see stuff. I kind of was like, I guess during my break time, I've been kind of looking at some stuff called the strat. I guess it's just another way, but to me, it's kind of like fundamentals, honestly. But you'll see some lines and stuff, so don't really worry about that. But I'll highlight stuff.
Do you want me to?
I can share. Yeah, I can share my screen. And I'll show you.
I think I have to make you a co-host, and then you should be able to.
Let's see. Or you should have there should be. I was about to say that or a security button. Yeah, on the tab where you can allow people to share screen.
I think you should be ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. So let me see. Here we go. So the stock that or I guess the ETF that I've actually been looking at is ARKK. And so excuse, like I said, the mess and lines, but I think the main thing is I'll try to hide some stuff here if I can.
Hide some of the lines or whatever.
Yeah.
I can see pretty good what's going on there though.
Okay. So I don't know. What really kind of caught me was I don't know. I think I've been kind of just been watching it for a little while. And I think what wound up happening was I don't know. I don't think it was on the daily chart. Um, I think it was. I can't remember. I think it was Monday. I was like, all right. I think this is about to have a move because well, you can't see it, but because I was really kind of paying attention to what's kind of been going on in terms of the 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 daily chart in terms of looking at kind of the trend, um, and kind of like I felt like using I guess the EMA crossover. It kind
Right.
of started teetering on that on Monday,
Yeah.
and so that I was like, okay, I think it might try to make a move pretty soon, and
Okay.
lo and behold, um, on Tuesday, it made a move, a big move with the market, of course, and it made a real drastic move because I think it was like I said 7. It finished that day 7.6%,
Nice.
which is really really nice. And as you see here, I have some faded green lines here.
Okay. Yeah.
But basically, that was me drawing in, letting me know that it's in this downward channel
Yeah.
from earlier. As you see, a bigger downward channel.
Right.
If I
Yes.
can,
Yeah. Because this has been going down for a long
yeah,
time.
it's been going for a minute. And it's really just it's just what's making. I mean, Tesla is like one of the biggest holdings. Zoom, so it's just kind of like downward, and then it just took a drastic turn. But
Yeah.
then it's been kind of stalling, and so I was like, oh, well, let me see. And so I looked at did a little EMA crossover, and then I did like a 50% retracement, which also on Monday was like, oh yeah, which is that box.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's gonna make. Hmm?
I just saw you do something with TradingView that I didn't know you could do. Oh, I can't do it with mine. Anyway,
Oh.
zoomed in. You like drew a box and it zoomed in.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the magnifying the zoom, the little plus button underneath the ruler. And if you just hit
Oh
the
yeah.
plus
Okay.
button, yeah, it'll zoom in. Like that.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm working on like this
Actually
14-inch
works
screen.
normal size when you.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's pretty neat, pretty handy. So really, it was really like the EMA crossover, and then once it jumped on Monday, I was like, okay, it's gonna cool off. I meant Tuesday. I was like, it's gonna cool off today, which I felt like I should have bought like some quick puts just to play the down
Yeah.
for today. But I was like, I actually I made some profit off of holding a couple of calls, swinging them into Tuesday
Yeah.
from Monday. So I was grateful for that. And then I was like, okay, it's going to make a move. And then to me, today formed kind of almost a hammer. And so almost. A pretty good move. And so I'm thinking it's going to at least, if the market carries well, it'll at least get back into this, 42, $45 ish
Yeah.
range, and then we'll see. But definitely breaking out of this downward trend right here, along with the help of the market, I definitely think will push it for sure up into the 42, $45 range.
It
And
looks like it's going to, and
yeah.
put an eye on on seeing some of this stuff. Uh,
Hmm.
it's I know that a lot of people look to ARK when they feel like the market might go more risk on. I mean, it is a good ETF to look to,
Hmm.
because it is very much a risk asset, or it's like it is it's the ultimate risk asset, really.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Oh,
So
also too, volume has been pretty good. So, yesterday the average volume, I think the average volume it surpassed the average volume. I think the average volume was maybe 24. I can't remember. 24 million or so, but it finished at like 26,
yeah,
27 million.
that's the high. That's actually the highest green volume since the beginning of September, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Just about, yeah, except for sales. Yeah, since September 1st. So yeah.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to see. So like knowing that Tesla is such a big position in this ETF,
Mm-hmm.
when you see when you see some sort of relative strength in this ETS, and especially like going back to 3 days ago or even longer ago, right? If you compare this to a chart of Tesla, right, you can see Tesla like falling apart.
Right.
And this ETF is not falling apart.
Right. Right.
And so that should tell us, or did that tell you? I'm almost giving you the answer here, but
No, that's a good question, because you know what? I don't know why I didn't think to. I don't ever think to, and I should, but I didn't think to really cross reference in as
right.
much with Tesla, even though I know Tesla had a pretty decent, like you said, decent day until the news came out. It's just like,
Yeah.
So, but you're right.
But
Yeah,
like on Monday, right? On Monday,
yeah, Monday, yeah, and I'm sure that definitely helped for sure.
and this ARK ETF didn't do that great on Monday, but Monday was still a green day for it.
Right, right, right.
And then yesterday, Tesla did not have a great day. It chopped around a lot, but I mean,
Yeah, ARK did extremely well. Yeah.
So when I see something like that, when I know that there is like one company that dominates an ETF so heavily as Tesla does with ARK or ARKK, and I know that Tesla is like doing terribly right now. When I see that ETF going up and going, wow, this is really cool, because that means everything else in the ETF must be doing really, really well
Yeah.
relative to Tesla. And that means then that this market really is risk on.
Right, right.
Great. So, yeah, not only is this a good trade that you've got going on, right? It can really inform your view of the overall market.
Yeah, that's helpful. That's helpful to think, because I totally forgot. Like, yeah, this is definitely a risque ETF for sure. Because of between Tesla, yeah, the list goes on. But yeah, no, that's helpful.
Yeah, you got to be playing with tight stops.
Very much so. Very much so. But hopefully with the nice rally, I'm thinking it might get up here maybe, and at that point some resistance. But even still, the move from down here to up here is really good. I mean,
Yeah.
And for the most part, it can move aggressively. I mean, even Monday was an indicator, because I remember not Monday, Tuesday, when I woke up, and I was just like, and I got my notification. I was like, oh, cool. I set the calls to sell, so I was fine. But it kept moving, and so I was like, okay. I was like, it's definitely going to blow off some steam, but it can, I definitely don't think it have any problem. As you see here, I got some kind of like just some other little levels I was making.
Oh, the potential levels of resistance there, I see. Yeah.
Very much so.
That's good. I think you had RSI on this chart, didn't you?
I did. So if I go back out here, here's some RSI, and then also I have a little trusty old MACD there.
Okay, so the purple line, is that the 14-day? Like the standard
I believe so. 1 second, if I could get this to drop. There we go. Yep. So RSI, yep, 14.
14. And what's the other one? The yellow one
says it. The 2. But let me see if I can do this. I probably should just take that purple one off.
The yellow one?
The yellow one. I'm sorry.
Average. I got moving average.
Moving average. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to show you something in here where I want to ask if you noticed this. Do you see the divergence there in RSI?
Oh, right. Let me see. Hold on, if I could. I want to say right.
Nope, not there. So the lows, right? Okay, so look at the
right
low.
Here.
Look at the low that ARK put in on September 26th.
All right, September 26th, right here.
Okay, see how there's a low in RSI?
Yep, right here.
Compare that with the other lows. Compare that with the low on September 29th or the low on October 3rd.
Oh, yeah. Higher highs.
They're all down at the same. The price is down at the same level. RSI has moved up quite dramatically. It's a big divergence.
Yeah.
So that's another clue. You didn't need it, which is cool. You took the trade anyway, but that for me, that would have been the last piece of the puzzle for me to say, hey, this trade's going to work. There's definitely a swing trade going on here, setting up. And I mentioned, now this is one of the more dramatic ones I've seen. I did mention in the weekend video that I was seeing some really subtle divergences. I saw them in the indices, and I saw them in some individual stocks as well. But yeah, it's definitely more dramatic here. And you've also got some other confirmation with the MACD crossover.
Yeah, for sure.
That crossover right there. You mentioned your moving average crossover as well. So yeah, this definitely, we've got a lot of clues that this is about to swing up off this bottom. We're about to continue, right?
Continue, right. Very much so.
There's a lot of technical things pointing to, this is putting a good bottom, and we are about to start a nice strong leg up. Yeah. And I'm starting to talk myself into maybe taking this trade.
Yeah, it definitely is like, I was like, oh man, it moved when ARKK moves, it moves. So I was like, yeah, definitely like good swing trade for sure. So yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to this?
No, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Well, good job, man.
I appreciate it.
So I know you took some. You bought some more in the after hours. So hopefully,
I did. I bought the shares, so I'm just sitting and waiting.
I'm looking at the futures on the indices, and they're all up quite nicely. They're up 0.5% now.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they've actually moved up quite a bit in the last 10 or 15 minutes. We've made a fairly strong move up. Okay. I got to share my screen again. Let's go here. Got it. All right. And we want that one.
Yeah, so I appreciate your vote of confidence.
Yeah, I'll look and see where it is in the morning.
For sure.
I want to look at. Yeah, here you can see. Look how I've got a 5-minute chart of the SPY.
Oh wow!
Here, and you can see just in the last. These are 5-minute candles. So you can see in the last 15 minutes, it started to move up quite strongly. So I don't know if there was some news or something going on, but again, this bodes well for tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, it does for sure.
Also bodes well for your ARKK.
For sure.
Look at that.
Wow. Oh, wow.
The money's already made. You probably bought in here somewhere, right?
Yep, I did.
So yeah, you're already up 40 cents.
Yeah.
That's like 1%, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Awesome. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, so anybody else? Lee or Just, you got any tickers you want to look at?
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, Just, what's going on?
Nothing. Good. Actually, I already talked to you about my WWE.
Yeah.
On the Discord, so I actually have something a little different.
All right.
I was thinking because
why don't you do you want to do like what Marvin did? Do a quick little. You don't have to share a screen if you don't want to, but
oh sure, yeah. I mean, if you could pull it up.
This is another trade. Do you want to pull up your chart and share it?
All right. How do I do that? Because I have it on. I have Trading View.
Okay.
I'd have to go.
I can make you a co-host, and then you can just share your screen.
Okay. Yeah, let me see. I gotta log into my thing.
I want to do that.
Trading View. Oh, and we talked about Trading View a while ago. If I should sign up for it, I'm paying for it now, or I signed up for the free 30-day
right
subscription. Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna just continue to pay for it.
Yeah, right. I paid for it too. I was just like, it's
yeah. If you're doing monthly, I think coming up on Black Friday, I guess around Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving, I'm positive they always have a really big sale, and it's like 60% off if you buy like a 1-year subscription.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good time to switch from from a monthly and just pay for the whole year if you like it and you think you'll keep using it.
They also kind of do that please don't go sale kind of thing, and that's
Okay,
50% off. It's pretty much 50% off.
Oh, nice.
Where it is like, did you enjoy using it? And I was like, no. Oh, here, please don't go, kind of thing. I was like,
all right,
oh.
I'm all ready, Kevin. How do I do this?
So I've made you a co-host, so you should see a share button down at the bottom.
Oh, share screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you've got multiple screens, you just got to pick whichever one's got your trading view on it.
Okay, so just share. Continue. Got it. All right, you guys see it?
Perfect. Yes.
Wow,
Yep,
look at that. So I know I switched up my colors a bit. I'm just, I like the blue. All right. Well, so I guess I could go through how I came up with the trade idea.
Yeah.
And and kind of my thought process, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was watching it. Maybe the first time I saw it was like around here.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure what date that is, but I have a buddy. So I work in entertainment, and I have a buddy who works in wrestling. He's a producer for a much smaller. I guess the same thing. It's like the WWE, but more of like an indie version, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how business is doing really well for him. So I was like, oh, like what are some wrestling stocks? And I came across WWE, and throughout this year, I just saw that like it was pretty much seemed like it was going on like the opposite of the market. It's like kind of like on this really nice uptrend.
Yeah.
And that's when I was kind of starting to ask you about it, if I should jump in and maybe see if I could trade from here, to go up here, maybe get some decent return. And then it finally pulled back to this trend line right here on the bottom. Ignore this line right here. This is actually, you recommended what my stop should be, and that's what that blue line is.
Okay.
But it came I bought it right where this white line is. That's the day I bought.
Okay.
Just because I saw that it started moving up, and I thought maybe that was a good confirmation that maybe we'll keep going up to here because it's done it so many times.
Right.
And then, of course, the day I buy it, it goes up for a day and then come all the way down back to this line. And I think that was like the next ticker talk. We were like on this candle right here. And that's when I hit you up and I was like, all right, I was ready to stop before, below.
Yeah, I remember that.
This line. I was like, all right. Yeah. All right. That's basically my question is like, when do I put my stop then? I've reached this point. It looked like it failed. We might be rounding off and going to the bottom.
Yeah.
But then you told me, at least wait until, I don't know, this low right here, which is what I did. And sure enough, last couple of days, it went all the way up here, hit this resistance. This is like a resistance that goes back to, it goes way back. I don't know if it's going to load, but it goes back to here. That's why I thought maybe that would be a good point to sell. Partial.
Into like 2019. Wow, that's like pre-COVID level.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, okay, I knew that was an important level.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to sell there. But then I also knew like I didn't want to take everything off the table just because if it broke through that, I thought maybe, for sure we were going to keep going up.
Yeah.
But, luckily I took half off because as you can see, it like pretty much touched it and sold right there. I think everyone else
back a lot from there. This does look, scarily like that same candle, back in August, right?
Yeah.
You don't, yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great that you took half off because, we could see a series of red days like we, like it did
Yeah.
in August. That's usually what happens when you get when you get that candle that looks like that at the top of an uptrend. There's usually red candles after it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. So, I mean, I think at this point too, I'm ready to sell kind of the rest of it after today's movement, but I didn't have the opportunity to because I was
right.
busy at work. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, you could do that if it, or see where it opens tomorrow. I wonder if this is trading after hours here. No, this doesn't really trade after hours. See where it opens tomorrow. If it's moving up, just hang on. But maybe
yeah, you're right. Yeah. So,
maybe you use the low of today as your stop.
okay. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, that's a good plan. And so what I sold, I ended up getting a little less than 9% return, something like that. So I was pretty happy with that. So
Bad for a few weeks,
yeah, not bad.
market. Yeah, cool.
and
Nice.
that's it, you guys.
Awesome.
So
Wicked.
yeah, thank you. Very helpful for sure. I think a big thing for me, like every time I've been talking to you, was setting the stops because so many times I've been stopped out and it's just like ran away with me.
Right.
Or like I did it too low, or I was too that just keeps going lower, and the next thing you know, you're sitting on like 30%, minus 30%.
Right.
Yeah,
a stop that's too far away from price action is just as bad as one that's too close, right?
yeah. So I was just still trying to figure out that sweet spot, but yeah. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to. How do I take the share back now?
I mean, I could do stop here. Boom.
There you go. Yeah, that gives it back to me.
But yeah, if you have time, I have my other question I was going to ask, which was a little bit different.
Absolutely.
So we've been talking about how like dollars going up, or the dollars, been really strong lately, and how that's bad for equities and stuff.
Yes.
But I'm planning to go travel, next year, like
Okay.
probably next summer. I'm thinking like, would this be a good time to like say I'm going to Japan, which I'm planning to go to Japan? Would it be a good time to maybe exchange some currency for like the yen?
Right.
Is that something that people think about, or I don't know?
It is something that people think about, and I'm trying to think if there's a way you can do it without just locking a whole bunch of cash into yen.
Yeah. Like, how would a person go?
You could hedge it, think
Yeah.
like think like a business who hedges currency. So that might be a better way to go. I mean, you could buy. Yeah, so there's this FXY is a Japanese currency ETF. So that might be a way to hedge, for a purchase of yen in the future. But the easy way to do it is, you look at the dollar is, the US dollar is super strong right now and the yen is super weak.
Yeah.
So this seems to me like a good time to just go and buy yen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was thinking,
What would happen if you bought this ETF right now? Well, if the yen keeps going down.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yes, going down, it doesn't really help you at all, right?
Right.
I mean, maybe shorting this ETF is the way to go.
Yeah.
Is that actually would be the hedge?
No, that's true. Right.
Because if the yen starts going up, well, you lose money on your short, but when you actually go to buy the yen, it's going to cost you less yen. But I think I'm overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
I think the long story short is the yen seems to be bottoming here, right? Or this ETF seems to be bottoming. And the dollar, the dollar is, I think, topping. And as one of the reasons the dollar has gone up so much, and the main reason the dollar has gone up so much is that the Fed has been tightening so much and raising interest rates so quickly that why, if you're in Japan, where I think interest rates are at 0, why would you keep your money in yen when you can convert it, when you can go and buy US treasuries and earn 4% on your money, right?
Yeah.
This is happening all around the world. Anybody with spare cash is buying US treasuries, so they're having to convert their money into US dollars, which is making the dollar index, the US dollar, go up against all other currencies. Because the Fed has made, owning treasuries so attractive because of the high interest rate. Well, as or when they stop raising rates and start cutting rates, that becomes then less attractive. So we should see, so what happens at that time then is people will start selling their treasuries, moving their cash back into their own currencies, and that will cause then their equities markets to start going up. It should also, the U.S. equities will also go up because, with a falling dollar. It's just good for equities markets all over the world, basically. So if you should probably look at what is your time frame? When are you planning to go to Japan? And what is your thesis on what the Fed is going to do between now and then?
Okay.
And how does all that time out? So I suspect maybe we could see one more leg up in the dollar before it's kind of finally done moving up. And it's then the yen and what's going on in Japan, I really have the tiniest bit of knowledge on that, so I don't really want to have an opinion on what the yen might do. I know that their central banks are also fooling around with things and propping up their markets, and they're a lot more likely to interfere in their markets, in their bond markets, and their currency markets and whatnot, than the Fed in the U.S. is. They're a lot more active playing around in their markets in Japan.
Okay.
So,
right.
Maybe this it probably wouldn't hurt to nibble on some yen.
Yeah. Well, that's the trouble with me too. Is I'm going strictly for vacation, and so I don't know too much about what's going on financially over there. Yeah.
And are you okay earning? Because I don't imagine you'd be earning any interest on it while you're holding it.
Yeah.
In cash, right?
Yeah.
Of some sort. So so you have to look at that too, because your cash, you should be, even if you just in a high interest bank account, should be getting 2%, I would think. I know you can get 2% in the US right now fairly easily.
Yeah.
But if you were to, if you had that cash in treasuries or something, then you're getting 4.
Yeah.
You also have to weigh that against it.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a lot more complicated than you think. Because at first it's like, the yen's going down, dollar's going up. Let's just switch it. Yeah, that's kind of like where I just thought of it. Actually, just today, and but you've it's a little deeper.
So if the vacation's a year from now, then that's you've got to build that 4% in, because that's a good chunk, right?
Yeah.
So you got to sort of consider that. So hopefully that's helpful.
No, that was helpful. Thanks, Kevin.
Good. All right. Anybody else got anything we want to look at? Lee, is there a ticker that you wanted to see? If you want to, you can unmute and talk to us, or you can type it in the chat. And if not, I'm not seeing anything come in. So unless anybody else has anything, I think we'll go and take a look at what we've got coming up in the rest of the month. So this month, I might switch one of these later in the month to an educational session. I haven't really kind of thought about what I might want to do next, and nobody's sort of really suggested anything that would be a whole session. I know there's somebody who wants me to do Fibonacci's, so maybe I'll try and work that into a ticker talk, because I just go briefly over Fibonacci's. I don't use them a ton, and I don't really think there's something that most traders should use a ton. But there are some people who just totally specialize in it, and it's all they use. So there's some interesting stuff goes on there sometimes. But anyway, so we got ticker talks every Wednesday the rest of the month, and of course I'll do record videos over the weekend and release those on Sundays. And oh yeah, Marvin says, yeah, what about Bollinger Bands? Yeah, another one. As you probably know, I use Kellner channels, which are similar to Bollinger Bands. But yeah, I could certainly do a little session on Bollinger Bands. Maybe that's the thing I should do, is like do a session where, you know, we do 20 minutes of Fibonacci's and 20 minutes of Bollinger Bands and 20 minutes of Kellner channels or something like that. That's a good idea, Marvin. Yeah. Okay. I'll think about how to put all that together. Cool. All right. So I think we'll call it a day. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks for watching the recording. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, and we will see you all again live next Wednesday.